we have heard nothing from the WNBA. Absolutely nothing.
Brittney Griner elbowing Caitlin-Clark in a crazy way and then calling her a trash white girl.
And Brittney Griner has not commented, which I find significant. I've watched that video countless times, and it sure looks like Brittney Griner says, white girl.
The WNBA should investigate Brittney Griner seemingly uttering profanities about white girls.
What if I told you the biggest scandal rocking the WNBA isn't just about a heated on-court moment, but something far more fundamental, something that could shatter your perception of women's sports as we know it. Everyone thinks they saw Brittney Griner's explosive verbal attack on Caitlin-Clark, reportedly calling her a trash white girl on live television, and they think they know the story. But what I'm about to reveal will change everything you thought you understood about this incident and expose a staggering level of hypocrisy that runs through the very core of professional basketball. By the end of this video, you won't just see this specific exchange differently, you'll question the integrity of the entire league, and you'll understand why the silence from the top is deafening. Here's what nobody talks about, and why this is way bigger than a single player's outburst.
He's fourth in the league in MVP voting.
Caitlin-Clark is an absolute all-star. She is the Michael Jordan of this. This is the girl that girls have been waiting for forever.
Caitlin-Clark is a rising star in women's basketball. She's pulling in crazy viewership numbers.
Caitlin-Clark is the needle mover.
She is the needle mover.
She is the franchise player.
And she was the MVP. She is the main draw.
She wasn't the one who was full sprinting down the court.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
And she's so good at basketball.
Because she's that awesome person and she has like a lot of aura, so like.
Things had been simmering for weeks, a pressure cooker of resentment and veiled aggression building within the league, but Griner took that slow burn and ignited it into a full-blown live-action meltdown for the entire world to witness. Picture this, the final seconds of a hard-fought physical game, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Griner, visibly seething after fouling out, stomped off the court. Cameras, sharp as a hawk's eye, zoomed in, capturing every syllable as she clearly, unmistakably mouthed the words, "trash effing white girl." There was no ambiguity, no room for interpretation. It was crystal clear, broadcast for millions. You could practically feel the venom dripping from her lips as she exited the court, a theatrical exit meant to sting.
Called her a trash expletive white girl. That was the lip reading. Yes, trash white girl. Trash. Blanking white girl is what she says.
That clip didn't just spread across the internet, it exploded like a wildfire, faster than a half-court buzzer beater from Caitlin-Clark herself. This wasn't just your run-of-the-mill competitive trash talk, this was ugly, pointed, and laced with layers of thinly veiled hate, a targeted strike designed to wound. Even veteran analysts, people who've seen it all, were left absolutely stunned. Skip Bayless, never one to mince words, jumped on it immediately. He flat out declared that if a white player, any white player, had dared to drop a racial slur like that on national television, their career would be cremated by lunchtime, gone and forgotten before the credits rolled. And he wasn't wrong.
Is the WNBA okay with one of its players saying white girl on the bench and getting caught by TV cameras saying such? I guess they are. I guess they're okay with it. Obviously, the league would very much not be okay with a white player saying black girl on the bench in anger and getting caught by TV cameras. That would be an immediate suspension, if not a career ender for said white girl.
But when Griner, a star player with immense political capital, did it, crickets. You could hear a pin drop, no fine, no suspension, not even a meekly worded memo slipped under a door. The silence from the league office was deafening, louder than a missed free throw in an empty arena. It was as if the WNBA just collectively shrugged, acting like it was an everyday occurrence. And fans, they weren't having it. They were boiling, watching in disbelief as an egregious act was simply swept under the rug, a clear sign that the rules apparently only apply to some.
It is completely possible that fucking white girl was about Caitlin-Clark's popularity, about her stature, about her impact on the entire league.
Let's be brutally honest. Clark has been the target of this kind of thinly disguised hostility, this veiled resentment, since the moment she stepped onto a WNBA warm-up court. She's been pushed, shoved, knocked around, and met with an endless parade of hard fouls that look more like muggings than basketball plays. And it's not because she plays dirty, or because she talks trash, or because she complains about calls. It's simply because she's undeniably dominant, a generational talent who changes the game every time she touches the ball. And yeah, let's stop pretending for a second that race isn't playing a massive, undeniable role in this toxic dynamic. Sound familiar? It's like when the new kid in school is too good at something and suddenly everyone else feels threatened.
She has been abused repeatedly. We have shown you videos, just getting elbowed, getting crushed, inbound passes where they ram into her, just absolutely abused, and there clearly is a racial element to it.
Griner's outburst wasn't some spontaneous moment of passion, a momentary lapse in judgment that just came out of nowhere. Look, here's what's really happening. This was the latest and perhaps most public instance in a disturbing pattern of hostility and veiled attacks directed at Clark. This wasn't emotion. This was a calculated, venom-filled insult delivered with intent and broadcast to the entire world. And from a league that loves to plaster no place for hate across its courts and social media, their silence, their absolute lack of condemnation, their failure to act is utterly deafening when that hate is explicitly aimed at Caitlyn. It's hypocrisy plain as day.
The WNBA has come out numerous times. There's no place for hate. There's no place for racism.
And now, the fan base wants receipts.
You know what people are demanding? They want to know why the league shrugged this off like a missed layup. Why they treated it as if it were nothing. Why is Brittney Griner, who clearly undeniably crossed a line on national television, being shielded from consequences? This is the kind of thing that makes you scratch your head and ask, are we really seeing what we think we're seeing? Now, here's where it gets interesting, because let's completely flip the script for a second. What if Clark, the league's golden goose, the player bringing in millions of new viewers, had uttered the exact same words?
The league would not be okay with a white player saying effing black girl.
Imagine Caitlyn calling Griner a...
Can you imagine the absolute firestorm? If Clark had been caught on camera mouthing trash black girl during a live game, it wouldn't just have triggered media meltdowns. It would have instantly detonated an atomic bomb in the sports world. We'd be subjected to 24-hour news coverage, wall-to-wall analysis, and panicked league-wide statements condemning her faster than a viral tweet. She would have been canceled, erased, and likely hit with a lifetime ban from basketball. No debate, no discussion, done and dusted. Her career over before she could even reach the locker room. And that's not even the crazy part.
Let's see an investigation into reverse racism that's going on across the league also.
Skip Bayless, controversial as he can be, absolutely hit the nail on the head again. He was precise when he said any white player making that kind of racially charged remark would be relentlessly crucified by the media, their reputation irrevocably ruined, their endorsements gone, their careers ended. But Griner, she gets a pass, like she accidentally stepped out of bounds during a meaningless possession. The league and a vocal segment of the media are treating it with the casual dismissiveness of a forgotten shoelace, as if it were a minor, insignificant infraction rather than a direct, hateful racial slur broadcast to the world.
Griner referring quite clearly, I believe, to Clark and a white referee as, quote, trash ass white girls.
And when certain commentators tried to play defense, twisting Griner's blatant racial slur into some sort of ambiguous whack call or just aggressive trash talk, please, give me a break. The footage is as clear as one of Clark's perfectly swished three-pointers from downtown. Fans, professional lip readers, and even neutral reporters who have no dog in this fight have all confirmed exactly what they saw and heard. Yet the league is acting like someone just forgot to turn up the volume on the microphone, pretending it didn't happen, or that it was just a misunderstanding. It's this kind of selective outrage, this blatant double standard that isn't just frustrating, it's corroding the WNBA from within, eating away at its credibility.
If you are a straight white woman in the WNBA, there is no way that you feel completely safe.
The same organization that...
Here's why this is a big deal. Remember when the league sprinted, literally sprinted, to investigate Indiana Fever fans after vague, unverified allegations about Angel Reese? They unleashed their PR machine and demanded investigations based on unsubstantiated claims. But now, when an actual player, a highly visible face of the league, clearly unequivocally throws out a racist insult on national television, the WNBA is suddenly blind, deaf, and mute. They lose their voice, their vision, and their ability to act. Make that make sense. What's the full story here? It tells us the league's priorities are completely skewed, valuing certain narratives over actual accountability.
New fans that sit there and yell racial slurs at myself, my teammates, and the people that I play against, because yeah, those might be opponents, but those are friends too. You know, they don't deserve that. So I don't appreciate the new fans. I think it's okay.
This isn't new territory for Clark. It's an ongoing nightmare. She's been the league's preferred punching bag since day one, a target for physical aggression and verbal jabs. And it's not because she runs her mouth or takes cheap shots or flops for calls. It's because she's simply that good. She's white, and she's turning the spotlight away from players who seem to believe that seniority automatically earns them immunity from consequences or the right to dictate narratives. You know what this tells us? It tells us that some players are threatened by her talent and the attention she brings. Remember when Angel Reese, an established star, even reposted a meme portraying Clark as running scared from a fight, captioned with "white girl running from the fade," like she's desperately trying to start a beef mixtape? And let's be clear, that wasn't some random fan content. Reese posted it herself, amplifying the toxic racialized undertones aimed at Clark.
Image that she reposted, and the implication is, well, what it says at the top is white. This is how they say girl, G-Y, white gal, G-Y-A-L, running from the fade, like as if Caitlin Clark is basically a.
And the hits just keep coming. Players have smacked her in the face, shoved her mid-play with what looked like malicious intent, and treated every hard foul they committed against her like they just won the WNBA Finals. Yet Clark, a beacon of professionalism, never reacts. No dirty plays, no cheap shots, no retaliatory antics, just pure basketball brilliance on full display, all while dealing with more hostility and overt aggression than any rookie in recent memory, perhaps in history, has ever faced. Can you imagine being in her position, trying to focus on the game while constantly dodging cheap shots and hateful comments?
Caitlin Clark got roughed up repeatedly by defenders throughout her rookie year last year. It was attempted bullying, trying to break her spirit, intimidate her, put her in her place, get even with her for all the attention she was getting.
And here's the reality check, the truth everyone's dancing around. Every single time Caitlin Clark takes a hit, every time she's physically assaulted or verbally abused, she's expected to zip it, smile, and play nice. She's expected to take the high road, to be the bigger person, to rise above. Never mind that she's the one being shoved, slammed, and now verbally assaulted with racial slurs. While she's held to these impossible saintly standards, the very same media outlets and commentators who should be defending her, who should be calling out this blatant unfairness, are instead busy giving standing ovations to her antagonists. The message is loud and clear, echoing through every sideline interview and social media post. Some players get a permanent pass, and Clark gets a giant target painted on her back. The league keeps talking about growing the game, but ignoring what's happening to Clark is exactly what's shrinking it, alienating the very fans they claim to want.
She accused the Indiana Fever fan base of being racist. They investigated it. They said those accusations were false. The least that she could do is apologize to our great state and the fans that show up at these games and say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Obviously, she's not going to do that. But also, Dan, why isn't the Indiana Fever apologizing to their own fan base for putting them through that, for going through those types of...
New casual fans, many of whom just discovered the WNBA thanks to Clark's magnetic presence, are watching this entire train wreck unfold in absolute disbelief. They tuned in to cheer her on, drawn by her talent and her unprecedented popularity, only to see her openly mocked, physically bullied, and now, shockingly, racially insulted with zero consequences. And what do they see from the league they just started following? Not action, not accountability, just evasive silence, hollow slogans and a dismissive shrug. If this is how the WNBA treats its burgeoning new fan base, if this is the example it sets, then don't be surprised when those fans, disillusioned and disgusted, turn the TV off for good, leaving the league to return to its niche existence.
He stated in part, obviously, the league would not be okay with a white player saying effing black girl on the bench in anger.
So let's cut through the noise and get to the core question, the one nobody in the front office, no commissioner, no team owner, truly wants to answer. Why is Clark expected to gracefully rise above everything while others get away with anything? Why is a racially charged insult against a white player treated like a minor slip-up, a mere footnote, while the very same comment flipped and aimed at a black player would justly bring the league to its knees, triggering nationwide outrage and swift career-ending punishment? That's the hypocrisy, the glaring double standard that fans are utterly sick of. And unless the WNBA stops ignoring it, unless they finally confront this ugly truth head on, they'll be ignoring the league right back, regardless of the hashtag campaigns painted across the court.
WNBA without Clark remains an attraction that not many people want to watch. Without Clark,
is going to massively affect the WNBA.
Clark is the closest thing that they have to quality play. Clark became...
And here's where the narrative takes another shocking turn, reaching depths of controversy most people aren't even aware of. Just when you thought the drama had peaked with Brittney Griner's venomous verbal outburst, the internet reignited a long simmering firestorm, one that's been bubbling beneath the surface for years and just got poured back into the spotlight with jet fuel. This one, it's intensely personal, deeply invasive, and it's going viral faster than anything else. We're talking about the renewed storm of speculation fueled by new evidence over Brittney Griner's biological identity.
Flag you, Brittney. Let me see something real quick. Brick, thank you. Get the hell out of here, yo. Jab stepping, it's a brick. Swing and a miss.
Oh!
Yo, I ain't gonna fake it right now.
That this person is not a female. Firstly, because this was actually posted to Brittney's personal Instagram.
To be absolutely clear, we are not trafficking in conspiracy theories here. We are simply reporting what is already blowing up across every corner of social media, being debated on alternative news platforms, and even whispered about in locker rooms and beyond. The rumor mill, once confined to the fringes, has officially gone mainstream. And this time, the debate isn't just fueled by speculation. It's being fed by actual video clips, past social media posts, and what many are calling a conspicuous, almost intentional absence of transparency from the league and Griner herself. The specific clip that reignited this entire explosive discussion, a topless Instagram story Griner posted herself, showing a chest that is unmistakably flat without the usual visible scarring of top surgery, a telltale sign that would typically be present after such a procedure.
That this person is not a female. Firstly, because this was actually posted to Brittney's personal Instagram. And when it comes to Instagram, they use a combination of like AI detection and plus manual surveyors, but specifically the AI detection to make sure that no explicit content ends up on the platform. So clearly whatever AI detection system was used when Brittney posted this and it stayed up for 106 weeks was not like, oh, this is a bare female chest, we have to take this down. It obviously assumed that Brittney was male.
Here's what's making people...
Now, here's what most people don't know and why this is a big deal. That Instagram video, despite its nudity, remained up for nearly 2 years. Instagram's AI, notoriously aggressive for flagging and removing even slightly suggestive content, didn't touch it. Not after a day, not after a week. It stayed up for nearly 2 years. The implication for many is unsettling. The platform's detection software, designed to identify male and female torsos, may have classified Griner's as male. That detail, combined with Griner's deep, resonant voice, her notably broad frame, and her overwhelming physical dominance on the court, has completely opened the floodgates of doubt. Even sports fans with no agenda, just watching a basketball game, are seeing her slam into someone like Clark, who is clearly smaller and lighter, and wondering aloud, are we even playing on the same field here? And the rabbit hole goes deeper. folks. A viral anonymous post is currently making the rounds, claiming that Griner was assigned female only on paper at birth, alleging her mother made that decision, and that she's been navigating the sports world ever since with the truth buried beneath a carefully constructed facade.
Brittney is a weird case. He's a man, yes, that much is obvious, but not in the way that you think. He isn't trans. He's a straight cis male who was raised as a girl and given a girl's name by his parents. His mother is the insane one. She forced him to live as a female right up through high school, filled out all of his paperwork, including BC as female, and kept the charade going.
The theory goes like this. Griner allegedly lives and presents as male in virtually every other part of her life, except when it's time to step onto a basketball court and compete professionally. True or not, and that's a massive if. It's a narrative the league hasn't just failed to address. They've actively avoided it, and that's precisely what fans are fixated on. Why the secrecy? Today's world loudly values inclusion, yes, and that's a positive, but it also profoundly demands fairness, especially when it comes to elite athletic competition, where a millimeter, a millisecond, or a pound can mean the difference between victory and defeat. If there's even a shred of legitimacy to these increasingly vocal concerns, then female athletes like Griner-Clark, who are dedicating their lives to the sport, deserve a league willing to honestly investigate. When someone who plays with the physical force of a linebacker slams into someone like Clark, who is demonstrably smaller, lighter, and clearly more vulnerable, it's no longer just about sportsmanship. It's about fundamental safety, about true equality, and whether the playing field is truly, genuinely level.
Brittney Griner comes out and says, I am so sick and tired of the WNBA. It used to be a peaceful, small little thing. Now there's crowds screaming, hollering. This is disruptive. It's not allowing us to play the game. Every time we play her, there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there watching on purpose. It's very disruptive.
And then there's the international angle, the kind of baggage that most athletes could only dream of, or rather, have nightmares about. Let's not forget, Griner was at the center of a massive, globally scrutinized incident, arrested in Russia for carrying cannabis, only to be swapped by the US government for a notoriously dangerous international arms dealer. Not just any arms dealer, mind you, but Victor Bout, the so-called merchant of death, a man responsible for fueling conflicts across the globe. That wasn't just a simple PR headache for the league. That was a national security trade, a geopolitical chess move of immense proportions. That's a level of political pull, a kind of untouchable status that most ordinary citizens can only dream of possessing.
WNBA crew are very fond of virtue signaling, but even when it comes to Brittney's exchange for like the Merchant of Death, which is insane, by the way, but had that been just like a straight white girl, my guess is that straight white girl would probably still be rotting in a Russian prison.
So fans are absolutely right to ask, with all the fervor they can muster, how is someone with that kind of baggage, with that kind of history, with that kind of seemingly endless political protection, still being coddled by the league? Meanwhile, Griner-Clark, the player who is single-handedly making the WNBA relevant again, who is filling arenas and driving viewership through the roof, can't even get a basic foul called in her favor. It's not just frustrating. It's a fundamental question of priorities, of protection, of whether this league is serious about protecting its own future or just its politically favored individuals, regardless of their actions or past.
Brittney was male and therefore being topless on the platform was totally fine. It did not constitute as nudity. Now, some people may speculate, okay, well, is Brittney trans?
Because if there's even a possibility, even a faint whisper of a chance, that a biological male is dominating women's sports under false pretenses, or at the very least without full transparency, that's not just controversial, folks. That's potentially the biggest athletic scandal of the decade, far eclipsing anything we've seen in years. And Griner-Clark, through no choice of her own, through no provocation on her part, is right in the middle of it. She's the focal point, not because she sought this drama, but because she's the one everyone wants to see, whether it's to cheer her unprecedented talent or tragically to tear her down.
Griner-Clark is a rising star in women's basketball. She's pulling in crazy viewership numbers.
Griner-Clark is the GOAT!
She signed my jersey! So happy, I'm crying. I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
The jerseys, the number 22, the various styles, whether it's a t-shirt with 22, whether it's an Iowa jersey, whether it's a Fever jersey, a throwback, I mean, whatever. The amount of people in yellow 22 apparel is stunning.
Clark came to elevate the WNBA, to inject a much-needed shot of pure electricity, bringing eyeballs, energy, and excitement that the league has never ever seen before. But instead of the unwavering support and protection she deserves, she's met with elbows to the face, racial insults, and a deafening institutional silence from the very people who should be safeguarding her. Fans are watching, every single one of them. They're not stupid, they see exactly who's being protected and who's being punished. And it's not the player single-handedly dragging the league into the national spotlight, it's the one dragging others down, the one creating division who's getting a free pass. It's a bitter pill to swallow.
This is great news for women's basketball. Period.
That's nice.
And she was shooting the shit out of it.
Of course she was.
Right, so she was shooting the shit out of it. And
she's the face of the league.
Agreed.
She's the face of the league. Agreed.
Just have nothing but great things to say about who she is as a person. Just so welcoming and so warm as an individual that she can have a conversation with anybody. She's cut from the same cloth as me in that regard. You know what? Us Midwesterners, we tend to just, accept everybody with open arms. She was so kind to my family and everyone in the suite when she came to KC. So huge fans of Caitlin Clark.
It is a mad situation just all around when it comes to Caitlin.
And meanwhile, as Clark battles on, the questions around Griner's identity and the league's shocking inaction grow louder every single week. Yet, we get no answers, no clarity, and certainly no reassurance whatsoever that the league is genuinely protecting its female athletes from unfair advantage, or frankly, from racist abuse. That's not leadership, folks. That's not courage. That's cowardice. Plain and simple. And if the league won't speak up, if they won't stand for fairness and integrity, then the fans absolutely will. So here's your call to action. If you stand with Caitlin Clark, if you believe she deserves fairness, dignity, and safety on the court, make your voice heard. Let us know by commenting "I stand with CC" down below. Shout it from the stands, support, and watch the games. Because if the WNBA doesn't step up soon, it's not just Caitlin Clark who will suffer. It's the credibility, the integrity, and the very future of the entire sport that will collapse. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out on critical breakdowns like this. Click the video on the screen for more untold stories, and we will see you in the next one.